Don't go through that door? Okay. So, this one happened back when I was maybe 8, and while I wouldn't have thought of it as malicious compliance, my mom sure did. Mom was vacuuming, and I'd done something to annoy her. Can't remember what now. So she marched me down to my bedroom, sent me inside, told me that if I came out this door before she said I could, then I'd be in big trouble, and slammed the door. So of course, I waited a few minutes, then decided I was bored and wanted to go outside. Per her instructions, I ignored the door, climbed up onto my chest of drawers, opened the window, took the fly screen off the window, and climbed out onto the dog kennel and then onto the ground, and went to see what Dad was doing. Sometime later, after finishing cleaning and finding that I wasn't in my room anymore, Mom stormed outside and spotted me sitting on Dad's lap on the ride-on mower while he was mowing the lawns. Mom has of course come over to us, absolutely fuming, and demanded to know what the hell I was doing. She told me not to leave me room. I of course said, rationally and confidently, that she told me I wasn't allowed to go out the door, and I'd obeyed her instructions by going out the window instead. She stood there flabbergasted for a minute, and then stormed off back inside. For ages I'd thought that Mom, faced with the unassailable logic of my argument, had known she was in the wrong and given up. But no, turns out that my dad, sitting behind me and thus fully visible to Mom but not myself, was desperately trying to hold back utter howls of laughter. And Mom knew that there was no way she was winning, and quit before he burst out laughing at us. Can you believe it took another 3 decades before I was assessed for autism? D. This is so innocent and cute after the fact. Our oblivious compliance works well for this. As a mom, I know damn well she was also trying not to laugh. I live with my in-laws, and when I try to discipline my kids and they say something witty, my fiancé and my in-laws will all hide their faces, and then all 4 of us leave the room and giggle. This reminds me of a sorta similar story that I did at a very young age. I think I was around 4 or so. I was playing with my father's tools and I broke his folding wooden ruler. Rather than telling him, I just put it back. Well, my father went to go use that ruler only to find it broken. I was summarily spanked and put to bed. This was back in the 70s. My father came in later to talk to me. He explained that I wasn't punished for breaking the ruler, but for not telling him. If I had just told him, it would have been okay. I then proceeded to look at him and say, "Daddy, I'm sorry I broke the antennae on the car." Sure enough, the car antennae was broken and all he could do was say okay. Best malicious compliance ever. Your dad is the king though. I'd have never been able to keep a straight face. Hell, I'd probably be on the ground laughing like hell. When my cousin was like 4, his parents and him were about to leave to somewhere, and his mother said, "Son, go call the elevator for us." He proceeded to open the apartment doors and say, "Elevator." I laugh every time I think about that. Your response seems perfectly reasonable to me. Yes, I'm also on the spectrum and am apparently equipped with a slightly wicked and delightfully twisted sense of humor, per an ex-GF. My sister, who had 2 girls, maybe 8 and 10 at the time, USWD to work together. Every so often the receptionist would come in and tell her there was a little voice on the phone for her, meaning her youngest daughter. So one day, after my sister had gotten several calls from the little voice, came in to tell me there was a little voice on the phone for me. WTH. I don't have any little voices? I picked up the phone and it was my youngest niece wanting me to ask her mom something. Her sister had told her not to call mom again, so she was calling me instead. Just had to laugh. Years later, I was working at a mortgage broker, and receptionist tells me there is a Lisa, her niece, calling for me. I wondered, because I didn't know anyone by that name. Picked up the phone, and it was Lisa, my niece, youngest one. I started laughing and asked what she had told the person who answered the phone. She told me, she said, "It's Lisa, her niece. Best receptionist we ever had and dumb as a box of rocks." This is the perfect story. Well played. Even young you was a smartass. That is priceless. My son was once kicking his chair leg at the table while we were eating dinner. I told him to stop. He did do, only to start up again a minute later. When I told him I thought I told him to stop kicking his chair leg. He said, "I'm not. I'm kicking Isabella's, his little sister, chair leg." My husband wasn't amused, but I had to hold my hand over my mouth to hold in the giggles. Some good wholesome compliance. Rolling on the floor laughing. Reminds me of a portion of a Hannah Gadsby stand-up special on Netflix about boxes and penguins.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.